All right, we're live. What's up, guys? 4 people in here. All right, we'll let some people get in here real quick, and then we'll start taking questions, and we'll start talking about what's important on the week. Foltzy? Gillis said Foltz. Yeah, he might be a bust. What's your opinion, Colt? Get over here. I think he is a bust. I mean, Colton's always said he's not a bust, or he is a bust, and I haven't agreed with him for a long time. We got 7 people in here. We'll let a couple more people get in here.
Fultz is a fucking bust.
But the more you see, you can't play him and Simmons together. There's no way you can play them together because, I mean, you look at it and you can't spread the floor with Fultz and Simmons both on the floor. It's just impossible.
Yeah, there's no shooters on the team.
And I mean, JJ Redick, he's just not cutting it as of late. Roberts' shooting's gone down. But first, let's just get into the NFC East. And, I mean, Dallas looked bad the other night. I mean, I know I put them as a lock. I was not expecting that. I don't know if this is which is on and which is off. Can you guys hear me good? Because I don't know if that is on or if it's trying to talk off of this. But we'll start with the NFC East. I said the Eagles had no shot.
Now they're probably going to fucking win it.
They might be the statistical favorite. I mean, Washington just got killed with their O-line. I mean, with their O-line being gone, I mean,
Paul Richardson.
Yeah, your wide receiver you signed this offseason's gone. I mean, I just don't really know how reliable Washington's receiving core is now. And I mean, Washington's defense, I think, along with Dallas, is still the 2 best in the NFC East.
Oh, definitely.
With the Eagles and Giants being far behind them.
Well, the Eagles have a good, decent front 7.
Yeah, but
horrible.
Their secondary's garbage.
Horrible secondary.
I think that it's a 2-horse race now. I think Dallas is done.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, Dallas, they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, Dallas is done. Dak Prescott, man, he's just been atrocious. I think that Carson Wentz is overrated. I think Alex Smith is the best quarterback in the East.
Whoa. Alex Smith?
Alex Smith's been underrated for years. Carson Wentz just doesn't do it for me. I mean, they have look at all the slot receivers.
The whole team's slot receivers.
Yeah, I mean,
the whole team's
you
slot.
just stack that team with just decent wide receivers. Ride the birds. Yeah, go ahead, Paul. I'll wait on your question, Paul, but I'll keep talking about the NFC East right now. So I still think Washington wins the division, but if you're looking at it by the statistics, if you look at everything here, I mean,
I think the Eagles.
I think the Eagles are going
to make a run.
I think the Eagles have the best statistical chance to make a run and take the division. But if I'm betting, I'm still going with what?
What?
You did have the best handles back in the day. I think that's what he's implying.
No, not anymore, dude.
But I think that I still think Washington wins the division. I think they win it at they're 5-3 now. You look at the possibility of it being an 8-8 NFC East. As much as I talked about it last week, not being an 8-8 NFC East and maybe being a 10-6 NFC East, with all that's happened with Washington and what crappy performance Dallas had last week. I don't really know what that is. I still think that Washington wins the. I still think Washington wins the division. What about you?
No, I think the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to make a run.
Why do you think the Eagles win it? Just because of all the injuries, Dallas, or all the injuries,
Dallas
Washington?
is horrible. Giants are horrible. And Washington,
All
I
right.
think Washington's going to lose a lot more games than you think second half of the season.
Who is the worst team in NFL right now?
Cardinals.
See, I'm going to go ahead and say that the Oakland Raiders are the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
Cardinals are bad.
I think the Raiders just have more.
Yeah, but
The
okay.
Raiders are trying to lose, though.
The Cardinals have a better running back and a better wide receiver. David Johnson, number one, David Johnson's a better wide receiver than anybody on that team besides Larry Fitzgerald, and he's a better wide receiver than anybody on – I mean, because you think about it, he's what? Him and Duke Johnson for the last 4 years have been the best wide receiver running backs. I mean, catching running backs. Yeah, I just think Oakland's bad, and I would tend to agree that the Cardinals are bad.
The Cardinals are really bad too.
Let's go on to some baseball for the first time. Bryce Harper, where do you think he signs?
I'm thinking Phillies.
I think
Yankees. One of them two.
I think Bryce Harper signs something like
out west somewhere.
No, I think he signs with the Phillies or he re-signs with the Nationals.
No, he's not re-signing.
Then he turned down the 300. What was it? 300 and
10 years, 300 million.
300, but there was no opt-outs on that. I would feel like he'd be more inclined to sign a 7-year 230 with an opt-out after either year 4 or 5. But I feel like the best deal for Bryce Harper at age 26 would be something around the 5 years, $200 million, and an opt-out after 3, because that opt-out after 3 is a big deal because that leaves him before age 30. So he can almost double up on his money.
Yeah.
I see Bryce Harper signing something where you have an opt-out after the 3rd year, whether it be a 5-year deal or whether it even be you see something like a what was it? Did Paul George get 4 and then an opt-out after 2? Something like that. You rarely see the opt-out towards the front end of the I
don't remember what Paul George got. Honestly.
Actually, I think it was I think Paul George got 4 opt-out after 3. Which let's not go to that yet, but it might not have been the greatest deal he ever signed.
Absolutely not.
Baseball free agents, you could see the Indians rebuild this year. I know they're shopping Carrasco and other names like Kluber and Encarnacion. I know that the Yankees are interested in both Kluber and Carlos Carrasco. Obviously, if you're looking for a quick restock, it wouldn't be that big of a rebuild. It wouldn't be that big of a rebuild. It would be something like you saw in New York 2 years ago, because you have Tristan McKenzie coming up in the in your minor league system. Obviously, in a deal that sends Kluber to the Yankees, you would likely see Justice Sheffield, who was involved in the 2000.
I like him a lot.
The left-hander who was involved in the deal. What was that? 2015 when Miller was sent to it was 2016. It was 16 because it was during the World Series run. You'd likely see the return of Justice Sheffield back to Cleveland. I would assume you would have to think about putting Gleyber Torres in that deal, as much as Yankees fans would.
They're not going to touch Gleyber.
I wouldn't assume so, but to get Kluber, where are your pieces coming from? You know that Justice is in that deal because they're going to want MLB pitching. So the more I've thought about it, if we can get a Justice Sheffield and another, if it's not Gleyber, it's going to have to be another top 10 prospects. It's going to have to be for a Kluber with that kind of.
They're not going to give up Gleyber for anything though.
Honestly. Yeah, no. What I'm saying is though that if it's not Gleyber, then it's going to have to be
like another.
It's going to have to be 2 top 10 plus. You're going to have to give up Justice Sheffield. You're going to probably have to give up. Yeah, obviously.
I think if the Yankees got Kluber, they could really make
yes.
championship run.
And the more I think about it, the more I don't have a problem with it in the Indians' point of view, because that leaves you with it, even if you trade Carrasco, that leaves you with Bauer as your number one. I don't have a problem with Trevor Bauer being my number one. He was a Cy Young candidate this year. That leaves you at 2, probably with Tristan McKenzie, which he's my favorite prospect right now. 3 probably leaves you with Justice Sheffield. 4 leaves you with probably Shane Bieber, who
He's a stud.
I'm really high on that kid. And 5 leaves you with Mike Clevenger at the back end.
Yeah.
Which that's a young lineup right there. That's a young starting pitching lineup. And that could prosper for years to come. We'll go into, you want to do Zion Williamson. He's good.
Yeah, he's really good.
He can do a lot more than people thought he could. Everybody's like,
Did
oh,
he drop 28
he's
last night?
just all about the dunks. But yeah, he
Yeah,
dropped
he's not
28
at all.
and 7.
He can shoot, dude.
28 and 7, and then he. Let's talk about that Duke team real quick.
Dude, I think they might win out. They might win out.
You could see the first undefeated NCAA basketball team ever.
Oh yeah,
All
I wouldn't
the
even
way-
be surprised, honestly.
All the way through the NCAA.
I mean, they could beat a bad NBA team right now. The way they look last night.
You put Duke on the floor versus the Cleveland Cavaliers,
Yeah, right now.
Duke might win. I make a bold prediction: Duke would beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in their current state.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little Philly sports. The Sixers or Pacers. Tonight.
I like the Pacers. I like the Pacers to win it tonight. Honestly, Sixers look horrible on the road.
That line's, you could get Philly at +3 for -110.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could get Indiana at home -3 for, I think it's +100. So that's even money. But I like the money line on Philadelphia tonight, and I'll be honest, because the Pacers, they're a streaky team. They didn't play well 2 nights ago against Houston at home. I think that Philadelphia will win tonight. Different from what you think, but
Yeah, I got to go with the Pacers. Honestly,
I think if you were to bet on that game tonight, I wouldn't wager the house, but you could put 50 to win 75. Yeah, 50 to win 75 on Philadelphia just to win. This fool's in his car watching the stream.
Let's call up Pizza Pro real quick. Get Gillis over here.
But let's go with give me your final 4 from the NCAA.
Football?
No, I want your basketball NCAA prediction. If you had to guess, I know you might not have looked a lot into it. Not a lot of people have, but where are you at? What do you think?
Duke.
Yeah, Duke,
I like Kansas
Duke's
this year.
got to be there. As Azubuike's a good player.
I think that Villanova might even be there just off pure coaching and stuff like that. They have a great
Jay Wright is
team and everything.
Jay Wright's one of the most underrated coaches.
And so, but I honestly haven't looked that much into it. I might just throw Kentucky in there. They looked horrible last night, but they have a lot of potential.
If Kentucky's in
they
there,
have a lot of freshmen and a lot of
yeah,
potential maybe.
So this is one of the first years in a long time I don't have Villanova in my first.
They don't have that much talent on their team if you really look at it.
Well, Jelly, he doesn't look like he was talked up to be.
Mm-hmm.
Crosby Roundtree's still got some learning to do. Obviously, you have Pascal back from last year. You have Booth back, senior. And then you have that little white kid Gillespie who's not bad.
Yeah, he's decent. He's like little Archie.
Yeah, but
he's not the best.
I'm just the team I saw in Duke last night.
Oh, they would smoke. Duke would smoke any. Duke's gonna smoke any team.
So
in
so my
college
so
basketball.
my prediction for the Final Four would be Duke obviously going in there and being the number 1 overall seed. I see a 2-seeded Syracuse going in there.
2-seeded Syracuse. Why do you say that,
It's a
though?
good team this year. Jim Boeheim, I think it's
His-
about time he led them back somewhere deep in this tournament. I think they're a lot better than years past. And then I'll probably say they will either be the highest seeded 1 seed or the highest seeded 2 seed or the lowest seeded 1 seed in Gonzaga. They'll be there, and then I see a 3-seeded Nevada. That'll be my sleeper
I
to
honestly
watch.
don't mind
The
Nevada.
Martin brothers, they're
Yep.
back. I
They're a
think
solid
I
team.
think
I
there's
don't
something to
think
be
they'll get
reckoned
to the
with.
Final Four, though. Honestly, I
I see Nevada going to at least the
can't
Elite
see
Eight.
them going Final Four. I could see them going Sweet 16. That's about it.
That's what I'm gonna go with. If it wasn't Nevada, the team I was deciding on putting in there would be Kansas as another number 1 seed. Obviously, Azubuike, I mean, good luck scoring on him. If he can stay out of foul trouble this year, which was a major problem from him last year, they, like you saw, they had to put Lightfoot in, and he was just getting bodied over. So I think that if Azubuike can stay healthy as a big man and stay out of foul trouble and just mature himself this year, I think that you could see Kansas, like you said, being in there. What about now? Let's switch to the other NCAA football.
Who's going to be on Final Four?
Final Four.
Dude, I think me and you might be agreeing on this one. I think I like the same teams.
I think I like everybody that's in there right now. Obviously, Michigan still has to beat
Ohio State,
which
I think they do.
and then they still have to win the Big Ten or
Yeah.
no,
I don't even remember what it's called.
Big 12. They have to win the Big 12.
Which I think they'll do that too.
No, it is Big 10. Yeah.
I think they'll do that too. Though
They have to win that. Yeah, I think it's going to be Alabama 1, Clemson 2, because the only way Clemson would lose would be in the ACC championship game. They're not losing to a Virginia team or a Pittsburgh team. Notre Dame probably faces its toughest challenge, maybe against USC. But then again, how good is USC? And Alabama. Unless they lose to the 5 seed out here, which would be Georgia. That's who I have as my 5 seed.
They're not going to lose to them. They're not going to lose.
If they don't lose to Georgia, then Big Ben top 5.
Big Ben might be top 20.
Big Ben might be top 5 worst quarterbacks in the league right now.
No, he's not top 5 worst. It's
top 10.
Top 5
behind Blake Bortles and
Bortles, top 2 worst.
All right.
Honestly, he's a top 25 quarterback in the league.
I think there's something we forgot last time in the podcast. We're trying to save most of our content. We were just trying this live video out this week to try to answer some questions. Something we left out last week, and we didn't. It didn't even cross our minds until we stopped. Derrick Rose, man, that was
50-point game.
That was impressive. I have to give him that. The gut he showed to go out there and come back from all of these injuries was impressive. I don't think he's back. I don't think he'll ever be back.
No, he's never going to be back to where he was. But I mean,
I don't even think he's back. I think that might have been a fluke game, but I'm glad
that was definitely a fluke game.
But I'm glad.
He's a decent player. I'd take him on the Sixers, honestly, in a heartbeat. But
I don't think that he can play more than 25 minutes a game, just because of all the injuries. but we'll see. I mean, it was good. Like I said, it was good to see Derrick Rose back, and I just wish him the best. I mean, he just turned 30.
He's still young.
I think
He
a
is
lot of
still
people.
young.
I think
People
a lot
think
of
he's
people
way older
forget
than he
about
is.
that. Yeah. Let's talk about betting for a little here. I'm not going to give you all the picks this weekend. I'm going to save that for the podcast, which will drop Friday night. A game I'll give you for Friday night because it won't be out by the time it'll already start when I drop the podcast Friday night. A game you should really bet this week is going to be Boise State at home, blue turf, against a 23 seeded Fresno State. Fresno State's 8-1. Boise State is 7-2, but Boise State is a very good team at home. I've seen many games out there. I've seen 3 or 4 games out there. And the atmosphere is just different. You might think, oh, Boise State, but I think that they're a very good they're a very good home team. So I would take Boise State plus 130. What else do I want to give them? Betting tomorrow's game, Steelers and the Panthers. I think that
Where's that game at?
it's in Pittsburgh, but if I would have to take a team, I would be more inclined to take the odds because there's no way that I would get. There's no way that I would
wins that game.
I think that it's a nail biter, but I think that
I think
the Panthers win that game.
Honestly, I'm gonna say I think the Steelers are gonna win that game just because it's in Pittsburgh. They play so good there, and they're getting hot at the right time.
I think that,
and James Conner looks like a monster.
Yeah, I still think Carolina wins that game. Don't bet on that. Yeah, Le'Veon Bell's not in my 5. Le'Veon Bell is not a top 5 running back. Put it that way. I don't care if he's playing or not with the elite backs that are in this league. Le'Veon Bell is a 6 or 7 running back in the NFL. It's just that way.
I did forget about Le'Veon a little. He's got to be top 5.
He's not in my top 5.
I honestly forgot about him, but I don't think he's as good as people.
It doesn't change my opinion.
I mean, what he did there, like look what James Conner's doing there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That also brings up a point where
it's like
I'm saying
James Conner wasn't even supposed to be a top running back, even close to it, and he's putting up these huge numbers. So I mean, I don't know.
So I'll give you a NFL bet this week.
A lock pick. Put your house on it.
I'll just give you the 3. If you want to parlay them, it can't lose. It's impossible to lose. Guaranteed, will not lose. You can lay $100 on it. It'll probably win you $100 back. So you'll collect $200. If you want to make a quick fit, if you want to turn 50 into $100, bet $50 on this. Take New England by the money line, minus 250. Take New Orleans by the money line, minus 220. Take the Bears by the money line, minus 240. Parlay them together. Put $50. I haven't bet it yet. I'm going to go down there tomorrow and get my bets in. I would assume that would probably pay you around even money. So 50 turns into 100. Bet that it won't lose. Guaranteed.
Any sleeper picks?
The upset of the week.
I gotta look at the games. It's hard to pick that right now, honestly, though.
All right, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. The upset of the week for me is the Dallas Cowboys knocking off the Philadelphia Eagles.
Absolutely not.
At
Cowboys might lose by 21 points.
At plus 3.
Cowboys are probably going to lose by
plus 300 is my thing. That's where it gets me. Plus 300. If I'm sitting here in a divisional game that I know is going to come down to...
Yeah, but how can Dallas bounce back from that performance? I don't think there's any way. They looked like one of the worst teams I've ever seen.
They did look bad, but
You could see it happening just because it's a division game. And
just as it's a division game,
Yeah.
and I don't like many sleepers this week. So if I were to go out, like I'm saying, you get 3-1 odds. That's a lot of odds to throw $10 on it.
Yeah.
$10 wins you 30. I mean, obviously I would put more on it, but it's risk reward. If you wanted to parlay,
what's the Eagles' favorite in that game?
now if that's another thing, but I was going to leave that for the podcast. But since you brought it up, the Eagles are 7-point favorites right now. I think Dallas is,
and I think people are actually forgetting that the Eagles have looked horrible too.
Yeah, so you could take Dallas,
but I mean, Cowboys
if you want to buy a half point. Now remember, you can only buy half points in parlays, in single bets or parlays less that are 4 teams or less. You can't buy points in 5-team parlays.
All right, you can get on, Gillis. You can get on easily. Can we might have to flame you up a little bit.
Yeah, you might need to get flamed up.
He said ride the Steelers.
Yeah. Okay. Hop off the Steelers. Eagles 7.5, not happening. And then, I mean, I think that's it for today. I mean, we were just trying to see how this worked out.
Yeah,
we try to answer any questions. Just a little
30-minute
video. I think that's what we're gonna start doing every week. Not gonna be a lot of.
Yeah, we got to.
We're not going to be putting a lot of content out for these things, but don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on notifications because every Friday we will be dropping good sports talk. I mean, a lot of people seem like they liked it last week,
and every Wednesday too. We're going to be just doing these little.
Every Wednesday, it may vary. We'll always put it out on our First State Sports Talk Instagram page. We'll always tell you when we're going to be going live, but we're going to try to do these 30-minute things so we can get questions from you. If there's anything that you think that we need to get better on, just drop a comment. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this has been productive. I mean, a lot of people asked some questions. So, all right, guys.
Peace, boys.
Have a good one.
Damn, that was actually really fucking good. Hey, Don, does it save?